On the issue of critical race theory, et cetera, I'll obviously have to get much smarter on whatever the theory is. But I do think it's important, actually.
But all of this sums up one key fundamental fact of what's going on in the nation. There is no leadership. There is no one that's saying, we are going to do this. All of it is, well, we can look at this and we can try to understand this and all this. No, we have been a nation for hundreds of years. Stop trying to reinvent it. Let me just start this episode off with a question, if I can. I'm sure we've got a lot of parents in our audience, maybe people who are trying to start a family right now, or maybe people who want kids in the future. Let me ask all y'all, if it was your choice, would you want something positive about this country taught in America? Or would you want something negative and made up taught in school about this country? What I mean by positive is, this is the greatest country in the world. That many people have fought and died for our freedom. That if you work hard enough and if you make smart enough decisions, you can do anything you want in this nation. You know, something along the lines of that. Or do you want your kids taught about white rage? Yeah, I told y'all in a past episode I was going to talk about this. Do you want them taught about white rage, the angry white man? And about critical race theory. I mean, this is stuff that is being brought up in meetings across the nation on what do we teach our kids in school? Teach them how to survive? Maybe how to invest? Maybe how to take care of your money? Maybe how to save it? Maybe not how to be an idiot with your money? I don't know. Those are all things that were never taught to me in school. I either had to learn them on my own or they were taught to me by my family. But no. You guys want to add in critical race theory and talk about the angry white man. And here's the example I'm going to give. So for those of you who are unfamiliar with the military and how the ranks work, the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff is the nation's highest ranking military officer. And he is the main advisor as far as the military goes for our president. Our president is going to him for suggestions on moves to make. And our current one is a guy named Mark A. Milley. Now, I'm going to be very careful in this video because I don't want to discredit anything this guy has done for this nation because he has done a lot. He was a Green Beret. He's got a ton of awards. He's been in a bunch of wars. It's amazing what he's done for this country. But for now, I want to focus on something he said, which is pretty concerning because I know a lot of Green Berets. I don't know any of them who would ever say something like this. And there's two parts of it.
On the issue of critical race theory, et cetera, I'll obviously have to get much smarter on whatever the theory is. But I do think it's important, actually.
All right, let me stop you right there really quick. During his statement regarding critical race theory, he clearly says that he needs to learn more about what the theory is, right? So you're admitting consciously that you pretty much, I mean, it was a nice way of him putting it in front of a whole bunch of people, but he pretty much said, I have no clue what it is, which is fine. I didn't even know what it was until a couple of weeks ago. But then you go on to say, I think it's really important for the military to study it. It's kind of like this. It's kind of like a Muslim person going into a Christian school and saying, hey, all of you guys need to learn Muslim. And then the principal of this school has a conference with all the parents. And he says the exact same thing that this general said. Well, you know, I really don't know much about the Muslim religion, but I think it's really important that our kids study it and be open to it. When you put it like that, it makes absolutely no sense. And look, I honestly don't think that this guy actually feels this way. But once again, people who have a stage in our government, some of them are not saying what they actually want to say. The new meaning for politician is, what do I have to say to get in the position I'm in. Not what do I truly believe, but how much do you really believe something if you can't just be honest about it? So General, you and I disagree on this. I respect you for what you've done for this country, but going into a meeting and saying, hey, I have no idea what we're talking about, but I think it's important, I think that's an amateur move. But I'm sorry, we're talking about what happens in the entire military here.
I do think it's important, actually, for those of us in uniform to be open-minded and be widely read. And the United States Military Academy is a university, and it is important.
Oh, well, our military needs to be widely read. I think everybody needs to be widely read, but you're wasting your time if you're reading crap that doesn't make sense or is not true. But once again, we're talking about our entire military now, going off of what you're saying, because you and the other chiefs of staff really decide what happens in the military. So if you want them all to study critical race theory, they get a big ass book of critical race theory as soon as they get to boot camp. Now here's the other part that I promised y'all I would talk about.
That we train and we understand, and I want to understand white rage, and I'm white, and I want to understand it.
Once again, I'm going to try to be as respectful as I can. But dude, you're white. I want to understand really what white rage is. Okay, you're a white guy. You said it. Think of the last time you're angry. I mean, technically, we could call it white rage because you're white, but we can do that with every color in the world. Every shade of color that makes up our world. We can name it that. You know, a whole herd of flamingos invades the US and just starts crapping on everybody's houses. The next thing you're going to be talking about is, oh, I really want to understand pink rage. I mean, seriously, if y'all have the smallest amount of understanding of psychology, you understand that being pissed off has nothing to do with the color of your skin. Somebody cut you off on the freeway. Do you think just white people get pissed off at that? You walk into a store, somebody slams the door on your foot accidentally. Do you think only white people get upset at that? What about our government? Have you heard of Antifa? Do they seem pissed off? What about Black Lives Matter? Did you miss the entire year of 2020? Did you miss all the fires, all of the rioting, all of the destruction? Were they white? I mean, seriously, I'm confused. If you want to talk about rage, perfect. Because there is a lot of it in America right now. And there are a lot of reasons why there is a ton. And one of the biggest reasons why is because there is a lack of leadership in our government. Starting from the White House, now going to you with the fact that you're introducing this stuff. You want to talk about something that actually matters? The Senate Armed Service Committee just approved new language in the National Defense Authorization Act that would expand the selective service of our military, which means the draft. All of us have heard of it. When you're 18 years old, if our country needs a military, if we don't have enough people in there, they draft you. And if you don't go, you're sent to prison. Now they want to expand that to females having to sign up. That is something to talk about. I'm sorry. And I think men and women are 100% equal, but we're built differently. We are not built equal. Do you think if I'm on the battlefield with a 110-pound woman and I take one to the gut, do I honestly think that she can throw me on her shoulder and pull me out of there? I don't know. Maybe you guys need to invent a whole new book on that.